Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. First up for D&D today, we have our mug from our friends over at King Leo D&D. Again, go check them out. They do some really great stuff over there. They were very early supporters of the show, and I appreciate that very, very much from them. You can get this mug on their merch site. There we go. Additionally, inside of it, we have the Elderberry Lemon Balm Immune and Stress Tea from Yogi. For some reason, my hands and joints and stuff have been kind of swelly recently, and I don't want that. And so I think this might help me. I don't know, but I'm going to pretend like that might work. But we are not here to listen to me complain about my hands. There we go. We are instead here to talk about 3 tips for making a memorable, impactful, breathing, living homebrew world in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, or really any TTRPG for that matter. I am a big believer in all 3 of these, and additionally many more of them, because I love building my worlds. I have been working on a world for like 4 years now that I am in love with, and these things have made it feel alive, made it feel like a real place, and I love it. I love it. I'm sure I've talked about some other homebrew tips before, and sort of like talked about building places and stuff like that, but these are slightly more meta tips. So keep that in mind as you pay attention to this. This is stuff that is going to help you in sort of like the overall scope of creating your homebrew world. But let's go ahead and let's dive into it. First and foremost on this list, we have let your players create their own worlds. And what I mean by that is let your players create their own spaces. You, as the dungeon master, as the person who is fabricating this universe for them to inhabit, you are responsible for every single molecule that goes into that place. So go ahead and delegate some of that responsibility. Let your players create their own spaces. This is actually a pretty common one that kicks around the internet. It comes in waves, and so it's worth just mentioning. Again, if it is on an off wave right now, I don't know. But just let your players create their own spaces. As part of character creation, have them also work out a place that character calls their haven. If they are somebody who is from a tiny town, collaborate with them, work with them to flesh out that tiny town, make it together. If they're from a large city, figure out the district of the city that they're in, figure out the places they go often, figure out all of these different things. They can inform a lot of the decisions for you, so that you just have to build off of the bones that they give you. And once you have the bones in place, life actually gets a lot easier for actually creating these things. So let your players help. Have them create the world with you, have them create their pockets in the world. Because really, the reason that I phrased it the way that I did here, when you think about it, we all live in our own little world, right? Like my world is the space that I live in, work, a couple of people's houses that I go to, a couple of the different stores that I like to be at, the restaurants that I like, and that is my world. Your world looks entirely different, or it looks very similar, but it's not the same. And the reason for that is because we all live in our own little world. So from their character's perspective, what are the important things? What are the things that they need to have fleshed out? Let them do it. Have them do it. Because, quite frankly, there is nothing that is going to be overly game-breaking about them saying, yes, I am the crown prince of this country. Okay, they are. You get to come up with the reason why it's not that easy for them all the time. You get to be the one that is like, oh, hey, you're the crown prince of the country. That makes you a massive target. Oh, hey, you're the crown prince of the country. Yes. People in the city will do things for you, but once you travel out to small towns way across county lines or whatever, they don't care who you are. You live off in your fancy little tower far away. It's not a get out of jail free card. So let them create their own little worlds. Have them build their character. Have them build the places important to their character. Have them do half of, if not more, of that work for you. There's no reason for you not to do it, honestly. Because it's exhausting trying to flesh out infinite numbers of places, especially if this is somewhere that is important to them and they go, yes, I want to go back there. It doesn't matter. Let them come up with it. If they come up with it, they have a lot more bought into it. I know I talked about it in my Give Them a Year video episode. It doesn't matter. Like, give them a year. Let them do what they want to do, because having them pull into the world gives them more buy-in. Having them pour their thought processes into the world gives you the ability to sit back and let somebody else do the work for a little bit. And then all you have to do is take it and go, yep, this works, and then move on. That's it. That's all it takes. So first and foremost, let your players create their own worlds. Let them do it. Next up, keep a doomsday clock. This is a little bit more for story running, and you know, it could be argued that this is like a DMing tip instead, but DMing and homebrew world building are one and the same in my mind a lot of the time, and this is something that I have been doing since day one of this campaign that I've been running for over 3.5 years now. Keep a doomsday clock. Know the events that you want coming up, because the reality is, if you want your world to feel expansive, if you want it to feel like something big is out there, other things need to happen in your world. It can't just be what the players have going on. And it doesn't mean that you have to intricately track every single thing that is going on. Once they like decide, hey, we're going to go over there and we're going to investigate that, that's great. Then you can go flesh all that out. But have a general idea of what is going on. Keep a ticker on your prep notes. I have on my prep notes, well, right now it's just one big thing. And some of them watch this, so I'm not going to say exactly what it is. But they can probably guess at this point. But keep yourself a doomsday clock. I have, throughout the campaigns that I have run, had these series of major events that are coming. And I also just track the date. I go, okay, this is how many days in game they have been. And this is the date because I created a calendar for my game, because why not? I get obsessive sometimes. But you just go ahead and you march it down. So let's say foreign nation will invade in 160 days. Underneath that, dragon attack in 85 days. Underneath that, I don't know, World Cup is happening right now, so like world or sporting event on the scale of the world happening, or something like that, like 15 days. Just keep a timer. And what is great about it is that, yes, these are major events that the players, if they don't interact with them, this is how long it will take for them to happen, because eventually it's going to happen. But if they don't interact with them, they will come, and then the players will have to deal with the aftermath of it. If they do interact with them, you can change the timer. Like if they do something that inadvertently speeds up the rate at which the dragon will be able to attack, great. Just knock some time off of that timer. It is coming sooner than they thought it was going to. If they do something that hinders it, great. Push it back a little ways. Let them have some more time. It is that simple. Honestly, it is that simple. Just keeping that ticker going the entire time so that you always know what you are driving towards. It also gives you an exact idea of how much downtime you are actually going to be able to give your players. Instead of getting somewhere and going, okay, I don't know, you guys are going to be here for like a week and a half or something. You can go, okay, my doomsday clock over here says that something is happening in 18 days, which means that in 2 weeks we will reconvene. They will sort of figure out like where they're at, and we'll go from there. Okay, what are you guys going to do in your next 2 weeks of downtime? And you can say it's actually been 15 days. It's actually been 16 days when you actually finally bring them all back together. When I say back together, I don't mean like you don't see them for 16 days of real time. I mean like it can be 10 minutes of real time where you're like, okay, you guys are gonna have some downtime here. Let's take a break. You guys can think about what you want to do. When we come back, that is what we're going to talk about. Done. That's it. That is as simple as it needs to be. And that is how you get between the events of your doomsday clock if they are not actively engaging in them. Then, my third tip, the one that really inspired me to make this video, or this episode. I released this as a podcast too. If you didn't know that, you can get this wherever you get your podcast. But the one that inspired this, because I just wrapped up running a game for my players. This is one that I didn't even know that I have been doing for a long time. But I really, really believe in it. It is probably the thing that I enjoy most about DMing. It is write your rules, establish them in world, and then break them. What does that mean? That means write your rules. Come up with the guidelines that run your world. This is what makes the world tick. This is how the world moves forward. Like this place has a king. This place has a I don't know, a chancellor. This other place is run by and they don't like whoever. Like stuff like that. Establish them. Like let the players see that. let them interact with it, let them experience the sort of rigidity of that, and then go in and break those rules. And when I say that, I do not mean break them in such a way that you are like shattering the trust around the table. Do not break them in such a way that makes people uncomfortable. Make sure that it is all within the bounds of like safe gaming space, but break your rules. The reason that it came up today is I had in my home game, one, they are actively pursuing somebody who is effectively, like actually managing to separate gods from their divine power and then take them out. So one, gods who nobody had been able to do this before, there is suddenly somebody who can do that, who is a god themselves. That's a problem for them, right? Two, they did it to one of the player's gods, and gods love their absolute power. So the fact that he escaped meant that we're okay, he's still alive, we'll get him his power back. Tonight, they said goodbye to that god. He'd willingly sacrificed himself to effectively save the party a lot of hardship, to communicate with a bunch of other beings on a different plane, or on several different planes, so that they could come and lend some help because they had locked themselves away from what was going on. He like crossed that line. As a god, he gave up the potential for absolute power to save a group of mortals. And while that isn't like unprecedented in media, like somebody of like wild status, super high power, deciding, yes, I'm going to do this for the betterment of the people that are around me, there is no reason for this god to want to do that for a group of mortals. Like, they are his hope for like getting his power back. But he saw the opportunity that needed to be taken. He went ahead and he took it for them. He actually even gave them the choice of like, if you want me to do this, I will do this. I understand if you don't, but I think that this might be the right choice. And it means that one of the clerics, one of the clerics in the party now currently doesn't have a god, and she is the apex of worship in her, religion. So we're going to figure out what that all means as we move forward into the, like, finale of our campaign here. But we broke the rules of the world in such a way that created waves. The players were not expecting it. They were shocked when he walked up to them, period, much less when he offered this as a possibility. We had well established the rules, like this is the way that the story is going. This is how this stuff works here. This is how this is operating. And then you go ahead and you hand them the breakage of it, and you let them see what it is that is going on. That is what is going to impact the hardest when you go ahead and you shatter those rules. A city was sacked. That happens all the time. However, the city was sacked, and then a broadcast of the queen being removed from power, we'll say, was put out into the minds of everybody in the world. So, like, there is real power to taking the status quo, the way that things work, and just slapping it in the face, getting rid of it. Like, just breaking it enough so that suddenly people are not sure what to expect anymore. There is so much power in that. And it is it is a so good. It is a phenomenal, there we go, storytelling tool. It is a fantastic way to help run your worlds, because the other thing is, when you get to go break those rules, you get to rewrite the new rules that go in place of them, which means that you are getting a constantly evolving world. It makes it feel alive. It makes it feel interactive. It makes it feel like something that is alive in a way that you just don't really get other times necessarily. So that is my third tip there. To recap, just a little bit here. Let your players create their own worlds. Give them their spaces. Let them design them. Let them do your work for you a little bit. 2, keep yourself a doomsday clock. Have that countdown running, because you never know when you're going to need a story hook to just kind of crop up out of nowhere. And 3, write your rules, establish them, and then break them. Again, make sure you're doing it in a respectful and safe way, but break those rules. Let your players suddenly be shocked. Let them be on their heels about something. It is really, really an interesting and fun DMing tactic a little bit there. So those are my 3 tips. That is everything I'm talking to you guys about on that. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the shows that we have today. I believe that we have Dimension 20 tonight, and I'm very excited about it. Following that, we have, or not following it, in addition to that, we have Knocked Prone, Venture Maidens, Trials and Trebuchets, and Roll Out. Check all of them out. Let them know that I sent you, because again, someday somebody is going to say something to me about it, and I'm going to think that it is funny, but until then, I'm going to keep asking you all to tell them that. All of that. So, that is everything I have to talk to you guys about today. So, thank you guys so very much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it, and thank you so much in particular to my patrons. You guys are the ones that have made this show possible. If you're interested in becoming a patron, check out the link in the episode description. Yes. So, that's it, everybody. Don't forget, drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.